Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's training, Overcome Top Seller Objections in Today's Market, with KW Maps coaches Emily Baker and Aaron Simons. Please note this meeting is being recorded and will be available within 24 hours on the Maps Fast Track YouTube channel. You may access the YouTube channel from your Zoom confirmation email, and we will share the link in the chat momentarily. Currently, everyone is on mute. We do value group participation, so we ask that if you have questions, please type them into the chat box. Your questions will be addressed by your coaches throughout your webinar. Following the meeting, if you have any questions about today's call or coaching programs, please email us at fasttrack@kw.com. That's all for me. Emily and Aaron, take it away.
Thanks, Madeline, and welcome everyone to Overcoming the Top Seller Objections in Today's Market. So thanks for being here. We're going to have some fun today. I'm Maps coach Aaron Simons. I've been selling real estate in San Diego for over 18 years with over 1,200 listings sold. And together, Emily and I co-host the Mega Listing Agent. So Emily, tell them who you are.
Hey everyone, Emily Baker out of Ozark, Missouri. I've been in real estate for about 10 years now, and I love listings and listing conversations. I led a sales team that we set over 75 listing appointments every single month, and we're taking over 50 listings a month as well, with only 3 sales agents on the listing side. So super passionate about it. And we've got a little treat for you to show our gratitude for joining today for the Mega Listing Agent. We're going to put the sign up link in the chat. And if you use the webinar code for it's a coupon code, but use the web15, we'll give you 15% off just to show gratitude for you joining us today to talk about these seller objections. In the Mega Listing Agent, we go through seller conversations. So lead generation, what do you need to know to be the economist of choice with sellers? The pre-appointment process, so pre-list, pre-qualification, setting yourself up for success to sign the listing every single time, and then get a referral from the transaction such that you have a predictable listing business in the market.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, our goal is to help you guys take more listings now. And with the current climate out there for most of the markets, it's not that easy working with buyers right now, right, Emily? I mean, things are getting a little bit competitive, and we all need more listings. And so the cool thing about what Emily and I do is that this is not theory. This is not good ideas. This is from the trenches. You've heard, Emily, you guys were setting 75 appointments a month. That was not a year, that was a month, taking 50 listings a month. So we've done the drill a few times and we're still doing the drill. So we're bringing you what's working today from the trenches, not the theory, right? And so here's the cool thing. We're gonna go over a couple objections and we're going to give it to you from different perspectives. We're going to give it to you from the lead generation perspective, because we all know we first have to set the appointment before we can take the listing. And oftentimes sellers have objections before we even get there. And so we're going to give you that perspective. And we're also going to give you the perspective from when we're actually at the listing table with the client. So you're going to hear these top objections handled differently depending on the situation. And Emily, we might have a little bit of time left over if there are other objections, because we're not going to get to all of them today, but if there are some other objections that you guys have that you want our input on, we're happy to help you out with those as well. I have a feeling we're going to have some time at the end of the call. Would you agree?
Yep, I agree.
All right. So what's the first big objection that is common amongst sellers right now? Oh, I know the slide moves. I know it does.
Lower the price.
Oh,
Yes.
well.
You nailed it.
Susan nailed it. So price. All right. Now we'll go in order. So Emily, why don't we handle price in terms of what we need to overcome before we actually set the appointment, and then we'll handle price as if we're at the appointment.
Yeah. So the first thing on a call, you may have an understanding that somebody's unsure of price when they say something like, I don't think I can sell for what I need to sell. So I'm going to wait and see what the market does. I'm going to wait and see if things turn around or if things come back. Or they may say, I just don't think I can get what I need, right? So when they say that, I always pose the question, number one, just out of curiosity, Aaron, when's the last time that you've had someone review the current market data numbers with you and your specific community to know if you can yield top dollar in today's market and make those numbers work? A lot of times it's hypothetical.
Well, I was on Zillow, I was on Zillow.
Hey, I completely respect and appreciate that. Zillow uses tax records to interpret their data and pull those numbers. So they're not always accurate. I don't know if you've seen some estimates and you're like, I don't really know if that's true. So what I'd love to do is go over the specific facts of what's the truth in your market such that we can determine if we can make the numbers work and move forward with getting you one step closer to sold. So, and then I'm going to close for, I've got this time or this time, what works for you.
I love that. So basically what you said was, when was the last time you had an agent actually review what's happening in the market with your specific home, right? In essence, that's what you said.
In today's market, that's the key, because someone may say, oh, well, we looked at it last year, but I know the market's changed. Today is the key word. In today's market. Yep.
You know what's so interesting is that when we look at the headlines right now in real estate, what are the majority of the headlines saying about what's happening out there in the market right now? Well, let me ask you, are they positive or are they negative?
Negative.
They're negative. Now look at it. Yes, we are going to see a negative in terms of fewer homes selling in 2023 than in 2022. Like, we know that. We sold 5 million homes nationally last year. This year is going to be 4.2 to 4.5. And so all the headlines are around the sluggish real estate market, right? The sales are dropping. It's slowing down. Goldman Sachs predicts these are the top 5 markets that are going to crash, right? I'm in one of those markets. What's the reality, boots on the ground, for a lot of markets?
It's still strong.
It's still strong, right? I mean, it's still, for the listings that are making it to market, it's still pretty strong in a lot of markets. So what's interesting is these sellers are looking at these headlines, thinking the market's bad, thinking, well, I don't even think we can get our price. What we know is we're going to get their price and then some in a lot of cases. Now, that might not be the case, but I've been noticing that happening right now. So, all right, let's now handle price at the listing presentation. So we're sitting at the table, right? We've gone through the pricing presentation, and we can tell there's still some hesitancy about them moving forward, right? And maybe they're saying that they don't agree with their price, maybe they're not. So we're going to go on a fishing expedition about price, okay? And what I'm going to say to them is, I'm going to say to the sellers, are we, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, are we in agreement that the market's saying 400,000 is the right price? Based on the comps here, are we in agreement that the market's saying 400,000 is the right price? And they might say, yeah, that sounds good. So let me ask you this question. So if an agent were to walk in here and tell you they could get you 50,000 more, what would you think? Now, if they say, well, then they're crazy. Okay, good. Then we know we've got them. But if they say, well, I don't know, that would sound pretty good to us, then we know we haven't completely sold them on price. Does that make sense? So we're asking the question, are we in agreement that 400,000 is what the market's saying the price should be? They say yes. Okay, so if an agent were to walk in here and tell you they could get you 25 or 50,000 more, what would you think? If they think that sounds pretty good, then we've got some work to do. Agreed? So we would then follow up the conversation by saying, given we've got the same data, we've got the same comparable sales, do you think that agent's telling you the truth? Or do you think they're just simply telling you what you want to hear so they can try and win your business? Now, which agent would you rather hire? Someone like myself, who's going to be upfront and honest with you? Or do you want to hire an agent who's going to say or do anything just to get the business and then beat you over the head for the next 2 weeks to get you to lower the price? Who would you rather work with? I don't know. What do you think about that one? Pretty good? All right. There you go. Someone likes it. So
well, I don't like being beaten over the head. So.
Okay, me neither, Susan. Me neither, right? But that's the point. We have to sometimes bring up the objection, even if they're not bringing it up, right? And that's the whole point there. Asking them the question, if another agent were to walk in here and tell you they could get you more, what would you think? That's going to tell you if you've got them on price or if it's something else. Make sense? All right. What's the next big one, Emily? Outside of price, what's the next big one?
My
The
home
next
is
one
sorry.
Commission.
My home is
Okay, the next one is marketing. So
Hold on, Keith, put it in the chat because we're gonna have time to get to it. So go ahead and put it in the chat. For sake of our presentation, I think we put up marketing.
Yep,
Now,
that's right.
now marketing's very general, but go ahead.
Yeah, so a lot of times people say, well, what are you going to do to sell my house? Or those people who have been on the market that maybe didn't have the results and in a sale, right? So those of you who are going after expireds, or for sale by owners or prospecting, the question is, what are you going to do differently in order to get the results of getting the home sold, right? And a lot of times we make the mistake on the phone. Remember, write this down. Your job on the phone is to connect such that you can convert when you are face to face. So a lot of times as agents or inside sales, what we do is we go, oh, well, I'm going to do this, or I've got, or well, here are the top 2 things that we do to sell properties. And again, most people only hear about 20%, actually retain 20 to 25% of what you say over the phone, right? Because they're busy, they're doing other things, right? So they're not really listening. You don't have their full attention because you're just chatting with them. So the question that I like to just ask someone is, I acknowledge it. So I say, hey, that's a great question. That's exactly what I'm going to go over with you when we meet, such that we go through not only my unique value proposition of how I net my sellers top dollar in today's market and how I sell properties in less time. And yet it only takes one buyer who's willing to pay the most amount of money for the property. Can we agree? Yes. Great. So I'm going to go through my strategic marketing plan that is highlighted to finding the one buyer willing to pay the most amount of money such that we get you one step closer to sold. Fair enough. Great. I've got blank and I close to the times.
Love that. Love that. So at the listing presentation, again, what we have to remember for sellers is that they don't really know at the end of the day what gets a home sold. We as agents know it's one thing and one thing only, which is price, right? Price overcomes all other objections, right? Location, price overcomes it. Condition, price overcomes it, right? So we know that it's price that first and foremost is going to drive the sale of their home. And so when sellers are interviewing agents, they could interview 3 agents, right? That give 3 different marketing plans and they all sound great. They really don't know what it is. So if someone's not moving forward, right, and they're questioning marketing, it's really our job not to start going deeper in the weeds on it. It's our job just to be very firm. And this is where we close. This is where we're pushing back on them, right? So for marketing, let's say we've already handled price. We know, price is good. We're good on price. Okay, so marketing. Emily, do you feel comfortable and confident that our marketing plan is going to sell your home?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So is there anything that you'd like me to do that you didn't hear me talk about today?
It seems like you do what a lot of agents that I've spoken with do. You didn't go over, there are a couple of things that some agents said that were enticing.
Yeah, like what? What were the other agents promising you that we didn't talk about here today?
Featuring the listing in a home magazine.
Okay, so they said that they would feature it in the local home magazine. Mm-hmm. Is there anything else that they were promising that we didn't talk about here today?
One agent said that they had a specific list that could target searches, some technology software where they could find the buyers looking for the home and market it to that.
We call that a reverse search, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
All right. So if we did those 2 things, which is if we were to feature your home in one of the local magazines, and then if we were also doing that same reverse prospecting search, right, through our database to find those buyers, if we were doing those 2 things, is there anything else that would keep us from moving forward today on the marketing side?
No.
All right. Well, can I tell you the good news?
Yeah.
We actually do those 2 things. So let's do the right thing. Let's go ahead and move forward so we can get your home on the market. So all we're doing on the marketing side is we're just going on a fishing expedition to see if there's anything where there's a disconnect between what we presented and what they thought was going to happen. And sometimes, right, if someone hasn't sold a home for 20, 25, even 30 years, is it different today than it was back then? I've come up against this. Emily, you probably have too. I've been in a listing appointment where they said, well, we bought this home because we saw an ad in the local newspaper. And okay, great, that's easy. So if we were to put an ad in the local newspaper, would there be anything keeping us from moving forward? No. Okay, done. You got your ad, right? But if we don't ask, if we don't get specific with them, then it's hard to move forward from it. Because it doesn't matter what you do, it matters what their perception is of what we're doing, or if there's anything that they heard that we didn't address, that's what matters. Does that make sense? And so for marketing, it's a fishing expedition. Do you feel comfortable and confident that what we're gonna do is gonna get your home sold? Great. Is there anything you'd like me to do that you didn't hear me talk about today? Is there anything other agents have promised you that you haven't heard me talk about today? Handled. Right? All right. So with that said, the next big one, which I know you guys already guessed it in the chat, right? We saved the best for last, and maybe not the last, because we'll get to a few from you guys here in a minute. What's the next big objection that sellers have?
Commission.
Oh, I love this one. Love this one. All right. So we're talking to them, Emily, before the appointment. We're trying to set the appointment, and they're kidding us with commission. Well, what do you charge? What do we say to that?
So I would say we're going to discuss that when we meet. And yet, is there anything that would stop you from moving forward as long as I assume you have a number in mind that you'd like to get for the property, correct? Yes. Awesome. So is there anything, if you could get that number, that would stop us from moving forward? If you can get, so especially a lot of you are putting stuff about for sale by owners in the chat. Just know that
we're coming to those. We'll come to those.
Yeah, that's the $1 million question for sale by owners. So when they say commission, it's never actually commission. It truly is. You probably have a number in mind that you're looking to get for the home, correct? Yes. Yeah, exactly, Michael. I don't want to raise my price for buyer's commission. The buyer has to pay. You don't even acknowledge that. Just say, yeah, so you have a number in mind that you're looking to get for the home, right? Or it doesn't make sense. If you could still get that number that you have in mind and use an agent and leverage your time and the resources and the legalities, what would stop you from doing that? Well, how would you do that? Well, that's exactly why I'd like to go over that, because I've been able to help a lot of sellers just like yourself move forward in today's market and yielding top dollar. So I have a opening tomorrow. I'm going to be in the area at 1 o'clock, or I could swing out after my appointment at 3:30, which is best for you.
Love that. Yeah, and look, at the other way we can handle that ahead of time is, hey, if on the phone they say, well, what do you charge? You know what? I know donating the most money possible is the most important thing to you, and commission is one of the first things we're going to talk about when I see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock.
Yep.
Right. So as Emily said, the only landmine we can step on here is if we actually handle it. Because the minute you handle objection up front, they've just disqualified you. Because it can never be low enough. It never can be low enough. All right. So now let's say we're at the presentation. Again, we're at the table. We're trying to close on them to move this forward and get that contract signed. And so they're still not moving forward, or they bring up the fact, that commission's an issue. They don't always bring it up though. So I'm gonna handle it as if they're not bringing it up. Okay. So what I say to them, Emily, are we in agreement with all the terms of the contract that we discussed today, including the commission?
Well, this other agent said they do it for 5%. So.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm surprised 5%. Have you talked to anyone who's do it for 4 or 4.5 or even 3%? You see,
no.
Here's my concern, and here's my question for you. So Emily, that agent who said that they would do it for only 5%, how many times did you have to ask them until they agreed to reduce it to 5? Or is that what they just
asked
offered?
what the commission? Yeah, I just asked what the commission was, and they said 5%.
Yeah. So I guess here's my question: if they can't even stand up for their own self-worth, how well do you think they're going to stand up for the equity of your home when negotiating with the buyer. Right? At the end of the day, Emily, when was the last time you actually paid less and got more? I mean, things do go on sale for a reason, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Look, you don't have a discount home, and are we in agreement that it makes sense not to list with a discount agent?
Yep.
See, and look, we can keep going on this one, because here's the thing, right? When they're offering to reduce their commission, that money that they're giving up, guess what that's not getting spent on? It's not getting spent on more ways to market your home. Right? So would you agree that the more exposure your home has, the more buyers that will come through it, the more offers we'll get, the higher sales price we'll have on it? Do you agree with that?
Yes.
So you see why you wouldn't want to hire an agent who's going to give up marketing dollars that could mean dollars in your pocket? That doesn't make any sense, does it?
No.
No, so let's do the right thing, put us to work so we can actually get you sold and net you the most money possible. We can hammer commission for days. And that's what we do in Mega Listing Agent, right?
Yep, that's exactly right.
All right, so let's have some fun here. We've got some time left over. And like I said, well, there we go, take care of that. The big ones are always price, commission, marketing. Those are always the big ones. Now, I see for sale by owners are popular right now. So is it okay if we have some fun with for sale by owners here for a quick minute? All right, so Emily, can I give you my favorite for sale by owner objection handler?
Yeah.
Okay, so at the end of the day, for sale by owners have a lot of agents calling them, correct? And
Yep.
they have a lot of agents calling them, telling them that they're going to net less money if they sell it on their own, correct?
Yep.
Like so just start with that. You could say, all right, so, Mr. For Sale by Owner, you've probably had a lot of agents calling you, telling you that you should list it because if you sell it on your own, you're going to leave money on the table. You're going to sell it for less. Have you had a lot of agents calling you saying that?
Yes.
You have, right? Now, here's my question. Have any of them, we'll get to that one. Have any of them actually told you why you'd actually sell it for less on your own?
No.
Is it okay if I share with you, what happens out there as a for sale by owner and why they're using this statistic?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, because here's the reality. So you're selling the home on your own to avoid paying a commission, correct?
Correct.
At the end of the day, 6% is a lot of money. And I'm assuming that you want to save as much of that 6% as you can, because why not? There's not a lot of inventory and the perception is it's easy to sell a home right now. Agreed?
Yep.
Okay, so here's the challenge. That buyer who sees your home and sees the fact that you're a for sale by owner, they also know that you're not paying a commission, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that buyer also wants to save on the commission. And so would you like to know what happens? And in fact, I guarantee this has already happened to you. The buyer looks at your price and they say, you know what? They're selling it without an agent. They're not paying that 6% commission. So let's go ahead and take 6% off the top. And then let's leave some room for negotiation. So let's take another 2 or 3 or 4% off the top, right? So here you are listed for 400,000, and I'd be shocked if you haven't received an offer for 360. Have you received any lowball offers yet?
Honestly, no, not yet.
You're not going along with it, Emily. You're supposed to say yes, right? Because most of them have, right? Chances are you have, and if you haven't, you're going to receive one, and that's why. Does that make sense? Because both you and the buyer both can't save the same commission. And so if that's what's happening out there, and we know it is because that's what all the statistics tell us from the National Association of Realtors, right? The Home Buyer and Seller Survey, we know that on average, a first sale owner will sell for 10 to 12% less. It's for that very reason. You both can't save on the commission. So if we know that, right? And at best, maybe you'll sell it and you'll net the same amount of money as you would if you hire an agent like myself. But that wouldn't make sense to sell the home, net the same amount of money, and yet you have all the liability on your shoulders and you have to do all the work. That doesn't make sense, does it? So would it at least be worth your time for us to come out and share with you exactly what it is we do, such that if you do decide to hire an agent, you'll know a great one to hire? Would that be okay?
Yep.
All right. I don't know. I always like that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's super powerful. And I think that when it comes to, again, a lot of prospecting sources, y'all, a lot of times we're we're our biggest roadblock when it comes to objections. Sometimes what we're doing is we're looking to convert the objections over the phone, and we don't have a level of rapport. We're not putting a face with a name, right? We're not as relational as most of us are high eyes. We like to love on people. And so they don't get to see that. They don't get to read our body language. They don't get to see that we actually care. They just think that we're another phone call. So again, a lot of this stuff is just acknowledge it, don't accept it. Don't say, I understand blank. That's accepting it. That's agreeing. Accepting is agreeing. Acknowledge it and say, hey, I hear you. And blank. And give them a perspective of why you need to meet, and then knock them out of the park with your pre-appointment process such that they're looking forward to it. That's the other thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Aaron.
No, exactly what you said. The key is don't make them wrong. Don't call a first level owner and tell them they're dumb for being a first level owner.
Exactly.
Agents do that all the time. All right, let's handle this one. I love interviewing other agents.
Me too.
I love interviewing other agents. All right, you want to go first or you want me to?
You can, and then I'll wrap up.
So now this can come up before the appointment or during the appointment. So I don't know which one. I know someone's asked for it in here. But I love to ask in the pre-qual, who else are you going to be interviewing? They don't like to tell you, do they? Right? However, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, the reason why I asked that question is because at the end of the day, us agents, there are things that we do that are similar, but there's also things that we are going to do that are different. And if I know who else you're interviewing, I can better show you what exactly we do that's different, such that it'll make it easier for you to decide which is the best agent to hire. So if I could do that for you, would that be helpful? Well, I still don't feel comfortable. The other thing that I can do is that when you meet with agents, we can say anything. And at the end of the day, we all might sound good. And yet the proof is in the pudding, right? So if I could do an agent report card where I could show you directly from the MLS exactly how many homes we sold and how many homes those other agents have sold, right? Because that's track record is important, right? Would preparing that agent report card be helpful for you, right? Now, you got to have a track record to do that. If you don't have a track record and we're at the appointment and they say they're interviewing other agents, okay, great. So Emily, what are you hoping to learn from interviewing these other agents? What is it that you're hoping to learn from talking to these other agents?
I just want to make sure that I'm making the best decision. I mean, this is a lot of money and I want to make sure that I'm making the right decision.
So let me ask this question. Are we in agreement that $400,000 is the right price? Okay, great. Now, do you feel comfortable and confident that our marketing plan will get your home sold?
I feel pretty confident.
Okay. And are we in agreement with the terms of the contract, including the commission? Do you feel comfortable with the terms of the contract and the commission?
Yeah.
Great. So why don't we do this? I know that you probably have better things to do with your time than talk to a bunch of real estate agents, right? And it sounds like we've already agreed on all the main points that you're going to talk about with any agent. So I don't mind doing this. I don't mind giving them a call. By the way, this works. It sounds cheesy, but it works. I don't mind giving them a call. I'll let them know that you listed the home with us. They're still more than welcome to bring a buyer and get paid a commission, right? And then that way you can get on with your day, get on with your afternoon and do what it is that you want to do other than talk to real estate agents. Does that sound fair?
Yep. Yeah. We've made tons of calls to other agents. A question that I would ask a seller that is similar to what Aaron just did, but this is one of my favorite questions to ask a seller when they say they're interviewing multiple agents, is just to ask them, Aaron, I appreciate that you're doing your homework and that you're interviewing additional agents. Let me ask you, what have we not discussed today or I haven't gone over that you believe will yield you more money and resulting in the sale of your home? And the key there is more money. And then and they go, gosh, I can't really think of anything else. Then let me go ahead and do this. Let me go ahead. I don't want them to waste the time. I can't wait to get back with our team and our marketing department in order to get your property presented in its best light. So let me go ahead and get started on to work on this, and I'll reach out and let those agents know that we're going to hit the market next blank, whatever that is. So we appreciate you all. We want to respect your time. Our next launch is May 3rd. And yet we're going to be back next is it next week, Aaron? I think it is
There it
next
is.
week. Yeah, April 19th.
How to get the listing signed every time. So guys, if you like what you're hearing here, sign up for Mega Listing Agent. This is just a little bit of what we cover in that course to get you taking more listings today.
Yep. And we will see you. Get registered for the free webinar, how to get the listing signed every time. And we'll see you next Wednesday.
See you, everybody.
Thank you.